Hello everyone, welcome to 2.5.5 Packet Tracer activity, which is configure initial switch settings. So on this Packet Tracer activity, we'll be able to configure our switch 1 and switch 2 that we see here. Just to make things quick, I won't be able to go everything here, I won't be able to read everything here line by line, because I assume you guys have already read it. So I'm just going to show you how to complete this activity, and if you follow this video uh, until the end, you will be able to complete this activity with a 100% score. So now we'll go to part 1, so we'll see that it says verify the default switch configuration. On part 2, we will configure basic switch configuration. Part 3, we will configure an MOTD banner. I'll show you what that is. On part 4, we'll save the configuration files to NVRAM. And on part 5, we will configure switch 2, which is right here. So without further ado, let's start this video. And so we can start by going to switch 1. So it says click on switch 1 and then go to the command line interface. So which we are already. So I press enter here. We see the switch. We press enable to go to the privilege mode. And now we can see that I'm on the privilege mode. You see the sign has changed from the greater than sign to the pound sign. So we already completed that. So that's what it says here. Enter the privilege executive mode by entering the enable command, which we already did. Next, we will examine the current switch configuration. So first, we can see the current running configuration by typing show run in short, or you can also write down show running config, but in short, you can just put show run and it will just do the same thing. We press enter. We see the current configured settings. We press enter to go line by line, or we press space to jump many lines and go to the bottom of the page. So here we see that this is our configuration, our running configuration right now. We see we have fast internet, Ethernet interfaces. We see here that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way down. We have 24 fast internet interfaces right here. And we also see that we have interface gigabit internet 1 and 2. Okay, so here it asks us, so now how many fast internet interfaces does the switch have? We already discussed that, so we go from here 1. If we count all the way down, we see that we have 24 fast internet interfaces. Over here it asks us how many gigabit internet interfaces does the switch have? So here we see we have 2 interface gigabit internets here, 1 and 2. It says gigabit internet. So that's that. What's the range of values shown for the VTY lines? So the VTY lines, if we scroll down a little bit, we see that we have line VTY 0 to 4. We have line VTY 5 to 15. So in total, we have 16 VTY lines from 0 to 15. So that will be our answer for that. So next we see which command will display the current contents of non-volatile random access memory, which is the NVRAM. So right now we're at the RAM, which is the volatile memory. If I shut down the switch and come back, and if I've already configured some things, everything's going to be lost because right now we're on the RAM. So if we see the NVRAM, which is the non-volatile, we type show. So over here we type show startup or startup config. Press enter. It says startup config is not present because we haven't saved anything to the non-volatile memory yet. So right now we don't see anything on the startup config. We only see configuration on the running on the show run config, which is the running configuration. All right, so Over here it says which command will display the current contents of the non-volatile access memory. We already discussed it, which is going to be the show startup config. This will show the NVRAM. And over here it says, why does the switch respond with startup config is not present? We already discussed that. It's because we haven't saved anything yet to the switch. We haven't saved anything to the non-volatile memory. That's why we see this message, which is not present. So next, it says create a basic switch configuration. We can do that. So to configure a switch, we always go to the configuration terminal. We go to configuration terminal whenever we want to set up a host name, a password. If we want to go to a specific interface, we always go first to the configuration terminal. So when we enter the switch, we're at the normal level. Once we enter enable, we will go to the privilege mode. And then when we tap configuration terminal, we go to the configuration mode, which we can see over here. So before it was just a pound sign, now we see a configuration word here. So that's how we go to configuration terminal. Now let's set up the host name. So we type host name. It says do S1, press enter. And now if we exit, so even before we exit, we see the switch is now renamed from switch to S1. So that's good. So now step 2, secure access to the console line. So now we need to secure access to the enable, to the privilege mode. I'm sorry, we need to secure access to the switch, which is when we first get in. So when we first get into the switch, we're not getting asked anything. We're just promoted to the switch. So press enable. We go to our configuration terminal and we need to configure that. So whenever we want to configure the initial login, we type line console 0, and then we have to put the password. We write down password. Write down password. And then the password is going to be let me in. So we type let me in. And then we have to write down login so that we can activate it. And then we exit out. So it says here, why is the login command required? So the login command is required to enable the password protection feature of the console line. So that's why we do the login command. That will be our answer for that. So step 3, verify that the console access is secure. So we need to verify that. So we do exit out again. So now when we first enter the switch, we press enter. Now we're getting asked for a password. We're not just getting access to the switch. So that means we have successfully configured that. Let me type let me in because that's our password. And now we're in the switch. So let's get back to the privilege mode. We press enable. See right now, we're not getting any password for the privilege mode. We just type enable and boom, we're in the privilege mode. And that's not a good thing. We'll configure that later on. We need to put a password. So on the step 4, we already did step 3. We already verified it. So now on step 4, it says secure privilege mode. That's what we were talking about. So we do configure terminal. And then now we need to secure the privilege mode. So for that, we type enable. So before we just put a password first, but now we put enable and then put password, type password. And then we put the password for the privilege mode. So which is C1 $C0. Make sure you put 0 over here. If you put O, the packet tracer won't grade your activity. So make sure you put everything here as you see. So C1 $C0, press enter. You don't need to put a login command here. We only put login for the line console 0, which is our password when we first enter our switch. So we can just exit out. And now, just to demonstrate what we did, is correct. If we exit, get back, we put our password for when we first enter the switch, let me in, which is our console password. We press enter and then we put enable. And then now when we put enable, we're not getting prompted to the switch. We're getting prompted to put a password because we already set it up a password. So for the password, we put C1 $C0. Press enter. Now we're on the privilege mode. As we can see here, our greater than sign is changed to pound sign. And over here, real quick, if we do the show run command, just to see our running configuration, we see that we have the enable password, which is the privilege mode. And then if we go all the way down, we see our let me in password, which is for our console, which is, in other words, when we first enter the switch. So, but we see both of the passwords are on plain text. That means anybody who gets access to the switch can see the passwords. And that's always not a good thing. So we need to secure that by putting a hash on the password so that nobody can see when they enter the switch. We'll do that later on. So here we already completed this step. We secured it. We already verified everything here. So we also run the show running config. We already saw that. So now step 6, we need to configure an encrypted password to secure access to privilege mode. So now we need to secure, first we will, this line is now, like, as you can see, it's plain text. We need to put a password that can encrypt it. So for that, we go to config, we go to configuration terminal mode. We can just put configure terminal, config T, it's all the same. So you can just put whatever is easier for you. You press enter, you go down to configuration mode, and then now you put enable. But now instead of password, you put secret. So that's going to hash our enable password. And then it says for the secret password, put it's a secret. And now when we put this, our enable password is overwritten by the secret password. So this password right here no longer works now. It's overwritten by the it's a secret password. But so what's the need of doing that? So if we do exit, if we do show running configuration now, we see that the secret password is not visible, unlike the enable password. So that's why we did this. Now the secret password, anybody who enters the switch won't be able to see what our password is. This hashed password was supposed to be let me in, but we're not seeing the text let me in. We're seeing the hashed version of the password. So now that's why we set it that. So now if we enter the switch, if I exit out, for the line console we put let me in. For the privilege mode we put enable first. Now it asks us for a password. If I put this password, it's going to deny it. If I put C1 $C0, press enter, it's denying it because it's already overwritten by the secret password. So, but if I put it's a secret, I get access. So that is that. Now we already configured this. We already verified. We already ran the show running config command or the show run command. What is displayed for the enable secret password? We already discussed it. It's a hashed password that we can't really see. What is the enable secret password displayed differently from what we configured? So why is it? Because the secret command hashes the value of the privilege access password. So that's why it's hashed, it's put differently. It's no more a plain text password. Step 8 encrypts the enable and console passwords. But if we go to switch 1, we already saw it. If we put the show run command, we already see these passwords are plain text, and we still need to work on it. The line console is already displayed here to let me in. So anybody who comes to switch can write down these credentials and give it to another person, and people can have unauthorized access to our switch. So we need to encrypt this. So we're gonna do that next. So we always go to our configuration mode to adjust anything we want. So for this command, we put service password encryption. Oops, sorry, I misspelled it right here. So service password encryption is already written. It's also written over here. So you can see now if I exit out of this, type show run, you can see that the password is encrypted now. Everything is hashed. So anybody who comes to switch won't be able to see the password. Anybody who enters successfully won't be able to, see the login information. This was supposed to be our line console password. As you can see, it's already hashed now, so that's a good thing. All right, so now part 3, configure a message of the day, which is the MOTD banner. So for this, we go again to the configuration mode. Oops, sorry, config mode. And then we have to put banner MOTD, and then we can just put the text that's displayed over here. So it's going to be, this is a secure system, and authorized access only. Your exclamatory mark. So now if we press enter, we already, that means we already set this banner. I go out. So why did we set it this banner? So this banner is going to be displayed. Oh, I think I misspelled the secure, but it's fine. You guys can just correct it on your side when you put this banner. So we put it this banner so that anybody who comes to switch will be will see the banner that says this is a secure system, authorized access only. So the reason we're doing that is because it can help prevent unauthorized access to the switch. So any user who comes to the switch will see that banner displayed. So if they're unauthorized, they won't be, it protects us from some trying to guess the password or, doing some kind of illegal stuff. So that's why we do this. Also, like in other places, it's also used to provide information to users, such as name and contact info of administrators. And, some companies just put some important stuffs on the banner. So, but just to demonstrate that real quick, we exit out of it. If we put enter now, when we first come to switch, we see this is a, correct this on your end. This is a secure system, authorized access only. So this is the banner we see. So as I said, some places they put some information about administrators' contact information or some sensitive info, like some important information that the user needs to know. So that's why we put the banner. So when will the banner be displayed? We already discussed that. Why should every switch have a MOTD banner? We already discussed that to secure the system, to put important information. And the banner is going to be displayed when we first enter to the switch. Save and verify configuration file to the NVRAM. Now we need to input the password quick. And then it's secret. So now we need to copy our configuration to the startup configuration, which is a non-volatile. We can put copy, run, start. So press enter again. I put a copy run start. You can put the whole thing here, copy running config, startup config, but in short, you can just put copy run start. It's the same thing as this. It's just a short version. So copy run start. Now it's already saved it. Just to make sure we can see if it's saved. So now if we put show startup config, we can see that our configuration is set. Hostname S1, our secret password, our enable password, our line console password. So everything we set up is already saved on the non-volatile memory. If you remember earlier on, it said the non-volatile memory was not present. So now it's a good thing. We already saved that. So now next, what's the shortest abbreviation? What's the shortest abbreviated version of copy running config startup config? We already discussed that. It's going to be copy run start. Examine the startup configuration file. You already did. Which command will display the contents of NVRAM? We already saw that. It's going to be the show startup config. Are all the changes that were entered recorded in the file? We already saw that. Everything was recorded. Now we configure S2. So when doing S2, I'm just going to go over it real quick because you already saw me doing S1. Now we go to S2. And by the way, if you forget some of the commands, you can come back here to the part 1 of these instructions and put the comment. So now I'm just gonna set this up real quick. So we can start by the device name. First, as I told you before, you have to go to privilege mode, enable, and then you have to go to the configuration terminal. So now we have to put host name. It's gonna be S2. Press enter. So protects access to the console. So we sure can do that. We're gonna first go to the line console. Gonna go to the line console 0. Sorry, I forgot to put the space. And then we put the password. It's gonna be let me in. If you remember, we have to put the login command, and then we can exit out of here. And now we have put the line console password, which is the password when we first enter to the switch. So configure an enable password to C1 $C0 and an enable secret password of it's a secret. Okay, we can do that. So for the enable password, we don't need to go to the line console. We just set it up on the configuration mode. So to do that, we put enable password, and then we put our password, which is C1 $C0. Press enter. We don't need to put the login command over here. It already saves this automatically. And now we put the secret password. For that, if you remember, we put the enable instead of password, we put secret. And then the password is going to be it's a secret. Press enter. And now if I go to the running configuration, I would see the secret command configure. So now we go to D, configure an appropriate message to those logging into the switch, which is our banner. We put banner MOTD, and then we can just put an easy text. We can just write down authorized access only. Then we could put our exclamatory mark, close the quotation, press enter. Now we have our banner. So, and then encrypt all plaintext passwords, as we don't want everything on plaintext, so we need to encrypt it. We put service, and then we put password, and then encryption. Now everything should be encrypted on the switch. Ensure that the configuration is correct. We sure can do that. We exit out of here. Whenever we want to see the configuration settings, we have to exit out of configuration terminal and enter the privilege mode. So now if we see show run, we must see that everything is gonna be hashed value, which is secured. It's no more plain text. This is our secret password. This is our enable password. We go down, we can see our banner over here, and this is our line console password. Everything is secured now. So the only thing left is to save this. So now ensure that the configuration is correct. We already did that. Save the configuration file to avoid loss if the switch is powered down. All right, so we can do that by typing copy run start. Press enter, press enter. So that will complete it. We already got 100% here on our packet tracer. And that's it. So if you have any questions, put it down on the comment, please. I will go on every comment one by one and answer everything. Also, if there's any packet tracer activity you're struggling with, please put it in the comment section with the packet tracer activity name, and I will be able to make a video on it. So thanks everybody for being here. Until next time.